All right, ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? It's Kyle Henderson of BamaInsider.com. Thank you for joining us tonight on the BamaInsider.com live stream. Be sure and put where you're coming from in the comment box on the show tonight. I'm going to talk the Nick Saban presser following Alabama's 24-0 victory over Mississippi State. Going to look at the offensive and defensive stats. We're going to look at grade outs. And we're going to talk, and this is what I want to hear most from you tonight on the show, is how concerned are you with Tua Tagovailoa and his knee? And we're going to get to that. And I want to take your calls later on in the show at 205-686-3604. Going to talk some what-if scenarios. We're going to talk college football playoffs. And also want to hear who you think can challenge this Alabama football team. Up top, as you can see, Alabama takes on the Citadel November 17th at 11 a.m. That will be the first game on SEC Network. Thanks for joining us. And I also wanted to say and start off the show with saying Happy Veterans Day. Our family is really thankful to the men and women currently serving in the United States military and also those who've served in the past. And there's no bigger honor, in my opinion, than to serve this great country. So thank you very much. If you want to put in the comment box, if you're a veteran, and put in what rank you are, or if you have a family member that you're proud of, go ahead and post their name in there, and definitely give them a civilian salute on our end. If you're just joining us, my name is Kyle Henderson of BamaInsider.com. My email is kyle@BamaInsider.com. On Twitter, twitter.com/BamaInsider. Let's start off following this game against Mississippi State, where Alabama's defense really dominated. I mean, I'm looking at the stats right now, and I'll bring it up on the screen in just a second. But the defense has really found their stride. I mean, shutting out past two opponents, LSU 29-0, and then on Saturday beating Mississippi State 24-0. And I think what's happening with this Alabama defense is they've made some adjustments, but also the players are starting to really rise to the occasion. The play of Quinton Williams, as we continue to talk on the show, has been fantastic, more than fantastic. I mean, he's playing at an extremely high level, NFL draft stock level, and the Alabama defense only allowed yesterday, check this out, 44 yards rushing. And the week before that, same thing. You know, you cannot run against this Alabama team. And you know what they say about defense, a good defense and defense, guess what they do? Yeah, they win championship games. So let's start off and let everybody get checked in, and we'll go ahead and start Nick Saban's press conference, and then I'll work our way onto the show. And happy to be here. I hope you guys have a good night, and let's get it going with the Nick Saban press conference.
For a second.
How's everybody? Good. I think in this day and age, you not only get judged on whether you win, but you get judged on how you win. I never thought that I'd ever be in a position to say that you get style points, but the way it is and the way our system is, that may be the way it is. But saying all that to say this, we knew this was going to be a tough game. We had a lot of respect for this team. They're a great defensive team. We struggled a little bit out there today on offense. We had some adversity. It'd be a great lesson for us to learn from the adversity and how we're going to respond to it, what we need to do to get things fixed, and maybe to be a little more consistent. Had way too many negative plays. But, you know, kudos to the defense in terms of the way they played. We had a lot of respect for this offense, this system, and I thought the players did a really good job, except the one drive where they busted a big run on us and hit a pass. I thought, you know, played a really, really good game. 1 of 13 on third down, stopped the run pretty well, so I was very pleased with that. So, you know, anytime you win a game in the SEC, I was concerned about having a little bit of an emotional hangover after the LSU game. I think that may have been true to some degree. Our players need to learn that, you know, you have to be able to play every week. You know, everything's like a playoff now. So we got to play well every week. We got to play to our best. Our standards should be based on who we are and what we can do. It shouldn't have anything to do with, you know, who we're playing. If you want to be the best, you always work to try to be a perfectionist. You never ever get there, but certainly you like to try. And that's what we need to continue to try to do. So, you know, pleased with the win. Lots of things we can learn from and do better in the game, obviously. I don't think that Tua could have gone back in the game if he needed to. I know the first thing you're going to ask me is about his injury. He got hit low a few times out there today, and I think he got hit in the front of the knee, not the back, which is where his initial problem was. I think he's okay. Deontay Brown went out of the game. He got a turf toe, and that may be a little bit more of a issue for him, especially for next week.
Coach will start on the right with Ben.
Defense did a really good job of getting pressure on Nick Fitzgerald today. How important was that, and was there any specific plan for it?
It was really important because we got a lot of pressure, and we got pressure when we weren't pressuring. All right, so we were rushing with 4 guys, and we could sit back and play, coverage, which has been a real key for us. And it was the same story last week. And when we did pressure, I thought we did a good job of that. So it was huge right before the half to, get a sack. And then they missed a field goal. I think that was a big momentum swing, in the game in terms of the outcome of the game that they didn't score there.
Coach, over on the left, Jeff Spiegel.
Nick, it got a little tense at the end. Some guys had to be separated. Can you talk about that? And also, do you have any issue with some of the low hits that Tua was taking?
Look, NFL has a rule for that. NFL has a lot of rules to, protect people, some of which people complain about. But I think we have a lot of capable people in the NCAA to make, decisions about what are good rules relative to player safety. And I've always been supportive of those rules, and I think somebody else should really sort of, make a decision about whether there's anything wrong with what happened in this game today. I'm not complaining about it. Football is football, and it is what it is, and we need to do a better job of protecting our quarterback so people don't get a chance to hit him.
All right, you can watch the full Nick Saban press conference on our YouTube channel. Thanks for joining us tonight, and happy Veterans Day, and also prayers and thoughts for everyone dealing with wildfires out in California. I used to live out there, and I have I can't even imagine what those people are going through. So with that said, I want to open up the call lines in just a minute, so hang on to those calls. But I want to show, as I usually do, the graphics and go over the stats kind of stat by stat with you, and kind of break this game down before we move forward. And as you know, Alabama will take on Citadel next. And here are the offensive stats from Alabama defeating Mississippi State 24-0. Joshua Jacobs had a fantastic night, has been playing at a very high level. Saban even said he played like a demon. 20 rushes on the night for 97 net yardage with 1 touchdown, longest of 17 yards. Also had a really nice kick return on the evening. And Joshua Jacobs can certainly bulldoze his way through defenders. I really like his game, and he's had just a very nice season for Alabama in 2018. Damian Harris had 14 carries, 53 yards. Najee Harris, it's good to see Najee back. 3 carries, 16 yards. Remember, he left LSU on crutches, but I don't think he's too banged up. And I wouldn't be surprised if you see a healthy dose of Brian Robinson against the Citadel. Brian Robinson, Joshua Jacobs, I would certainly feed and get some of the guys like Damian and Najee rest if you can against Citadel. Tua Tagovailoa, 14-21 with 1 interception, threw his second interception of the season, 164 yards. With 1 touchdown, longest of 25 yards. Mississippi State brought the heat all game long. We can talk about that in just a second. Mac Jones got in 3 for 6 for actually -1 yard. And to be honest, didn't look that polished. We can talk about that later on in the show as well. Receiving-wise, Jerry Jeudy, 6 receptions, 45 yards. Irv Smith, I really like the way that Alabama utilizes Irv Smith. I've said that again and again this season. 5 receptions, 70 yards. Nearly caught a touchdown pass. Jalen Waddle, 3 receptions, 26 yards. Joshua Jacobs, 2 receptions for 12 yards. And Mike Bernier, the punter. How about him? 5 punts, 183 yards, 36 average. 43 was his longest, and he had that nice punt, which Alabama pinned Mississippi State right at the 1-yard line by a heads-up play by Patrick Surtain. So Mike Bernier looks like a serviceable punter for Alabama, which is good news for Alabama fans. And also, it's not on the screen right now, but Joseph Bulovas. How about, how long was that field goal? Was it looking up right here? Was it 46 or 49 yard? 49-yard field goal. And he hit his 3 PATs. How about that? Hey, for Joseph Bolivas. Nice. All right, looking at the defensive stats right now. Quinton Williams, 6 total tackles. Second straight week, he led the team in tackles. 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss. Dylan Moses had a very nice game as well. 6 total tackles, 1 sack. Raekwon Davis, 5 tackles. Mac Wilson, 5 tackles. Isaiah Buggs, 1 tackle and a sack. Jared Maiden, I thought he played well. He made some good open field tackles. Also had a sack on the night. In total, Alabama had 5 quarterback sacks. Defense played lights out all the way through. I think they're doing a fantastic job. And I'm really glad to see Tosh Lapoy, Pete Golden, Carl Scott, those guys making adjustments and putting these guys in the right place. But I really feel that this defense as a whole, they're really playing at an extremely high level. And again, holding Mississippi State just to 44 yards rushing, 125 yards passing. Total offensive yards for Mississippi State, if you can believe that, 169 yards on the game compared to Alabama's 305. It was actually Alabama's first time that Alabama's offense did not go for over 500 yards. The first time that's happened in 10 games this season. That was quite a stat when you would read that each week in the stat line. I'm sure Alabama's offense will come through again. It's just, I don't think a lot of people realize, a lot of people talked about LSU's defense, but nobody really talked about Mississippi State's defense. I think we have a caller last week who mentioned that Mississippi State's defense would be up there, and they certainly were. All right, here are the grade outs. If you're just joining us on the show, how the grade outs work, the number on the far right is their grade out. The higher the number, the better the player fared during the game. The position is obviously what position the player played, and then the total is the number of snap counts. So highest graded player, 79.5 from Jonah Williams. And if you've watched our show throughout the season, you'll see that these grades are a lot lower than what they've been throughout the season. Usually, you have a couple guys up in the 80s and maybe one guy up in the 90s. You even look at a player like Tua Tagovailoa, had 57 snaps, 57.9. I believe that was his lowest graded performance during the season. Lester Cotton had a tough night, 55.8. Deontay, let's see. Deontay, the lineman, his last name's skipping my mind. I apologize. Deontay Brown. Turf toe, which is a big loss for Alabama. I mean, turf toe can really be something that you can struggle with. And I'm not sure the length that Deontay Brown's going to be out for Alabama, but that is a big loss. Suffered last night. Turf toe is definitely, you don't want to mess with that. Alex Leatherwood graded out 63.9, and Ross Piersbacher 69.6. Jalen Waddle 63. I mean, grades are just really low. Irv Smith 69.9, 69.8. Let's take a look at the. Those are just low. Jeez. Here are the defensive grades. A little bit higher. Obviously, these guys balled out last night. Savion Smith, 69.4. Patrick Surtain up top, 62.7. Saw 50 snaps. Really impressive play for a true freshman. Mac Wilson, 73.4. Really good grade out for Mac Wilson. He didn't grade out that high at the beginning of the season. Shaheem Carter, who's played very strong all season long. Deontay Thompson and Xavier McKinney, low grades for them, considering the play throughout the season. Usually those are 70 to 80 type grade players. So those are low grades for those two players in the safety position. Quinton Williams, 78.0, and Raekwon Davis, 78.0. Low grades for Alabama, but, it is what it is. I like to bring these up. It makes good topic of conversation. Those are compiled by Pro Football Focus. What I want to talk to you about is Tua Tagovailoa. And how concerned are you as an Alabama football fan, and how concerned should you be? And what percentage of health is Tua? Right, there you can see his knee brace up in the screen. It's on his right knee, and he got hit right on the top of that knee, and that's where the problem exists for Tua. Didn't go back in. Nick Saban said that he could go back in if they needed him to. They obviously didn't need him to go back into the game. If, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if they sat Tua against Citadel, maybe get him a series or two and then just rest him. Rest Jalen Hurts as well. and turn the reins over to Mac Jones and, have a heavy dose of Josh Jacobs and Brian Robinson against Citadel and get these guys healthy. Because if you look at the tail end of the schedule for Alabama, you got Citadel, and then you have Auburn, and then you have Georgia. Two hard-hitting defenses that are going to go after Tua, similar to LSU and Mississippi State. And if I'm a defensive coordinator, I do exactly what Mississippi State in this game is, put a lot of pressure on Tua to either you're going to affect Tua to where you get him to make a turnover or you take him out of the game. I mean, let's be honest. That's what these teams are trying to do to level the playing ground for Alabama, especially with Jalen Hurts being out as well. It's concerning for Alabama football fans with Tua having to deal with this knee injury. It seems like it continues to be an issue. It seems like it's getting worse. Nick Saban continues to say that it's not that big of an issue. He's played, and Tua's a tough guy. Teams like Auburn, teams like Georgia, they're going to send the entire defense at Tua. And depending on the health status of Jalen, I'm not sure what's going to happen. Mac Jones is a snap away from being the quarterback. Right? And I don't think that Alabama ran that Wildcat play with Josh Jacobs just to do it. I think they ran it just to see how it looked, and it looked really good. I love Josh Jacobs at Wildcat. Believe he did that in high school. Speaking with our team writer, Tony Sukalis, he said that Josh Jacobs did that in high school. Wouldn't be surprised if, there's a point where Alabama has to run some Wildcat, which wouldn't be bad. Imagine Josh Jacobs handing to Najee Harris or to Damian Harris or to Brian Robinson. That might not be too far fetched. Want to also show you real quick the college football playoff rankings, and then I'll take your calls at 205-686-3604. The college football playoff rankings will be updated again on Tuesday. Everybody in the top 10 won. So Alabama now 10-0, Clemson now 10-0, beating Boston College. Notre Dame also 10-0. Michigan playing some very good football, 9-1. Georgia 9-1. There at the bottom, I don't think you can see them, but Oklahoma is 9-1 as well after surviving Oklahoma State. When I look at this college football top 4, even top 5, the two teams that concern me in terms of matchup problems, I think are Clemson, Michigan, and Georgia. I think Clemson is just a very well-coached team. They beat Alabama within the last couple seasons. Michigan is a team that I think has a very good defense, and I think their offense is coming along with Shea Patterson. They got a lot of weapons on the offensive side of the ball. I know Notre Dame beat them head-to-head. This a long time ago. I think Michigan's playing better football than Notre Dame and have played a better schedule. And I think Georgia is a team that certainly has the makings to give Alabama another run in that SEC championship game. My question is this. Let's say, looking at this college football top 5, if Georgia, let's say Alabama beats Citadel and Auburn. Let's just go a couple weeks forward. And Alabama and Georgia are playing. And Georgia beats Alabama. What does the college football top 4 look like? Would it look like this? Clemson, Notre Dame, Georgia, and Alabama? Would they leave Michigan out? And I think they might, because I think it comes down to this. A lot of people forget that Notre Dame beat Michigan head-to-head. So I think in worst-case scenario for Alabama fans, if Georgia does beat Alabama in that SEC championship game, a lot of things can happen up to that point. But I think it would be Clemson, Notre Dame, Georgia, and Alabama, which would pair Clemson and Alabama at that 1-4 spot, and they'd be playing in Miami at the Orange Bowl, and Notre Dame and Georgia would be playing in Dallas at the Cotton Bowl. A lot could go on, but I'm just, that's what it could look like. Obviously, Alabama is still at the number 1 spot and, still a team to beat. And the way their defense is playing, lights out. This defense is playing phenomenal. Lights out across the board. You got to score in Alabama. 2 posted shutouts in a row against Mississippi State and against LSU. Very impressive. Very impressive. All right, I'm going to go ahead and open up the call line right now. 205-686-3604. I want to take your call. How concerned are you about Tua Tagovailoa? Should he sit against Citadel? I think that's the obvious yes. What percentage of health would you say he's playing at? And also, what team out there can challenge Alabama football? Call line is open at 205-686-3604. Remember, it's your show. Call in. Also, happy Veterans Day to those out there that have served this great country. And looking at the offensive stats. All right, we got to call in. All right, thanks for calling. Good evening. It's Kyle Henderson. You're on the line. Who am I on the line with and where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Mike from Kentucky, Kyle. How you doing tonight?
Hey, Mike, I might as well just save your number in my phone book, man. It's always good to hear from you. Thank you for the call. You're on the show. Go ahead, shoot.
Yeah, you pretty much covered it, brother. I don't think he just doesn't have the escapability, that cat-like pirouette, matador, getting out of trouble move, and everybody knows it. You got to give credit to Mississippi State Saturday. They dialed up some pretty good exotic blitzes where they sent two guys on the same side. Damian Harris took the first guy, but it was either the safety or an outside linebacker. He came untouched, man, and tattooed Tua pretty good. I'm concerned. I'm concerned for Jalen as well. I think you're absolutely correct. If Mac Jones can't hand the ball off to the running backs and take care of Citadel, I just can't see that as a plan that can fail. But
yeah, I mean, I'm serious. I'm not exaggerating. When they ran that Wildcat play, it wasn't just that was an emergency test. I mean, we're getting to some nitty gritty. If something happens to Tua on a bigger scale, and Jalen, I honestly do not know when Jalen Hurts is going to come back. Yes, he dressed, but he had ankle surgery. There's no such thing as minor surgery. And his game is to be able to
they called it a sprained ankle. I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, and Jalen's game is to take off and to run at full speed. He's not a pocket-style quarterback, right? So,
right.
that takes out him. Mac Jones, is he ready mentally? Redshirt freshman? I don't know. I mean, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty, and I think it's safe to say that Josh Jacobs is the fourth-string quarterback, and I think we saw a little bit of the fourth-string quarterback against Mississippi State.
Yeah, and there was a couple of play calls in the game against Mississippi State. Why would you run a quarterback draw when Tua's got a bad wheel against that defense? Run straight at that meat grinder defense with Tua on a delayed draw. That was kind of crazy in my book.
Yeah, I mean, it's teams are gonna if I'm a defensive coordinator, I'm watching this game, and I'm doing exactly what Mississippi State did. I said that early on the show. I thought they played a fantastic game against Alabama. Mississippi State's defense was very good. And I'm bringing the house against Tua. I'm going to live by the blitz, and I'm going to die by the blitz. And that's concerning. It has to be concerning for Alabama football fans.
I don't know. Maybe dial back a receiver and put two backs in the backfield, go max protection, do something. He can't be getting thumped like that. And with Jalen not healthy, man, I'm kind of nervous. Georgia's got two good quarterbacks, and Auburn's got a pretty fair quarterback too. When Tua just can't stand in the pocket like a statue because they're going to be coming for him.
Hey, Mike, thanks for calling. Anything else while you're on the show?
I think that about covers it, brother.
All right.
Later.
Thank you so much. Yep. Thank you so much for calling in. All right. Calling line is open. 205-686-3604. How concerned are you about Tua Tagovailoa? What percentage of health do you see him performing at? All right, you're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Thanks for calling in. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling from?
Calling from Crestview, Florida, Lower Alabama.
All right, thank you for calling in. Can you please turn down your speakers in the background?
Yeah, got it turned down.
All right, go ahead. You're on the show. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. Hey, this thing with the Tua, I'm telling you what, I think our coach is going to the well a little bit too much. What do you think?
I mean, in terms of what? In terms of,
take the game with Derrick Henry, okay, when he won the Heisman. That one game, he ran the ball 40 times.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked. It worked, but our coach keeps going to Tua and expecting him to come up with these miracle throws and just blow out the competition. And he's playing him hurt, and that bothers me quite a bit that our coach will do that. Especially when we got the Harris guys, we got Jacobs, we got Hurts, and Mac Jones is a good quarterback. they really should be bringing out Mac to play the Citadel. He should start that game, okay? And then let Jalen rest, and then bring him out for Auburn. And give Tua some time off, get that knee healed up.
Yeah, I think
Because they're going for him. I mean, it's obvious the last two games that they're going for his knees.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, the first shot he got a shot against LSU in what turned out to be the goodies, according to Tua. But that hit last night was right on the top of his knee, and I think you bring up a great point to where Alabama has the most dynamic backfield in college football. It might be time to just start grinding the football out, especially with the way that this defense is playing, and start playing some time of possession football rather than the quick strike, because teams are setting the house. Maybe you balance out the offense a little bit more. I think Loxley overall has done a fantastic job, but right now with Tua playing 60% to his ability, 70% to his ability, I think you got to change this entire offense and start relying on Damian, Josh, Najee, who are fresh, because none of them, I mean, they don't carry the football that much. They're still healthy. And I think it might be time to go back to running back and start feeding the ball and running it down opponents' throats.
Absolutely. Because I'm going to tell you what, if Tua is not 90% when we go into game with Georgia,
oh yeah,
we're going to have some problems. Okay,
and I'm telling you what,
they've got an axe to grind with us.
Oh yeah,
and they're going to come out with their A game, and we really need to rest that kid up, take care of his health.
And it seems like the trajectory of Georgia's play is really climbing. I mean, the way that they played yesterday. I mean, they look like an angry football team, and I think you're right. They got an axe to grind. You don't think Kirby thinks about this game, that championship game, every single day? They are trying. They're going to be trying to spoil anything that Alabama has, and that's talking before Alabama's most heated rivalry with Auburn and Gus Malzahn. I mean, those two teams are pinning for Alabama. You got to keep them healthy. I think you got to start Mac Jones. Maybe even work on a little bit of Wildcat, as crazy as that sounds, just in case. You got to rest Tua, you got to rest Jalen, and have those guys ready to go, because Auburn and Georgia are coming.
And I'm going to tell you what, a lot of people have just written Auburn off. That Alabama's just going to go in there. That's hardly ever the case with Auburn.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody knows you could put the whole year aside when Auburn and Alabama hit the turf.
Yep.
You could just almost toss a coin sometimes. It doesn't make any difference how the teams played all year. When they get in there with that rivalry, you just don't know what's going to happen. So we got some tough games coming up, and we need to get our quarterback healthy. I'm saying start Mac Jones in that Citadel game. He can handle them. I'm absolutely certain he can handle them all the way through.
Absolutely.
Rest Jalen up one more game. Bring him out in Auburn, see what happens.
Thank you so much for calling in the show. I appreciate it.
All righty.
Calling line is open. 205-686-3604. How concerned are you about Tua Tagovailoa, your Alabama quarterback? What do you think about this Heisman Trophy race? Because you got a quarterback out in Norman, Oklahoma. All right, good evening. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with, and where you calling from?
Hey, Kyle, how's it going? It's Chris from Hawaii. How you doing?
Hey, what's up, Chris? How you been, man?
I've been good, man. Been busy. Sorry, meant to call in the last couple of times. Heard the show, but just really never had the chance. It's on the go,
You're good. You're good, man. What are your takeaways from yesterday's game against Mississippi State?
It's like deja vu every time Tua gets hit.
Yeah.
You get up fast, you getting up slow, and it comes to getting up slow. So that's kind of what scares me going forward. Like your other caller said, that it might be best to sit him the next game at least. My question to you is, when it comes to Georgia's looking better every week. Are you more scared about the running game or the passing game?
You know what? Probably. I mean, that's a good question, because the way that Alabama's rush defense has been playing, I mean, they've been playing phenomenal. I mean, through the last 5 games, I believe they've been only allowing 65 yards per game. Through the beginning of the season, the rush defense, they were still good, but they weren't like they're not playing like they were now. So if Georgia comes into the game and they want to try to run the football in Alabama, I think that fares better to Alabama. But I think if you have to beat Alabama, I guess your better chances through the air. But I don't know, because the safeties are so good in Deontay Thompson and Xavier McKinney. Tough call either way. I think the only shot that people have to take down Alabama is to go after Tua. And Mississippi State, if Mississippi State's offense was bad, straight up bad, Nick Fitzgerald has really taken a step backwards from last year. But their defense was probably capable with Georgia, LSU. Their defense was phenomenal, and I think if you have a team that can have a better offense, and that'll be Georgia, I don't know. I mean, that's going to be. Don't count a W against Auburn or Georgia just yet, fans, because the playing field is getting a lot evener. And I think, Tua's numbers, it's not like he's been completely balling out. Teams have been coming for him, and it's been affecting him. He's thrown 2 interceptions the last 2 games.
Yeah, it's crazy. They're headhunting them or knee hunting them, if you want to put it that way. But I had a quick question. So I was reading an article. The all-time record, quarterback passing record. Now, do these postseason games count for Tua? Does he have a shot at taking out the all-time passing record at Alabama this year, you think?
Oh, yeah.
If he is healthy, that is.
Yes. So I believe Tua is at 27. Is he at 27 touchdowns on the season? He's either at 27 or 28. The record is 30, set by A.J. McCarron in 2012. So, yeah, absolutely. So, maybe he doesn't throw a touchdown against the Citadel, but that record is definitely going down. He's just got
What about yardage?
Yardage. I think he's far off yardage. I'll double check on that and I'll post that. But I don't think he's close to yardage, but certainly touchdown. He should have that in the bag by the end of the season.
All right, man. Well, we just got to pray he gets better.
No doubt.
So
no doubt.
I think if he's 100%, Georgia's not going to be a concern, but I'm just scared of Georgia. If he's not 100%, they're going to sleep us with their run game and throw some nice deep balls, and that's kind of what got me up at night. But anyways, thanks, Kyle. I got to run to Bruno Mars concert.
All right.
Good talking to you.
All right, Chris. Take it easy. Enjoy that concert, man.
All right.
All right, that was Chris in Hawaii. Appreciate the calling. Call-in line is open, 205-686-3604. Want to hear from you tonight. Want to hear about your concerns going forward with this Alabama football team, now 10-0, and will be number 1 in the college football playoff rankings when they come out on Tuesday. Call-in line is 205-686-3604. Alabama, Clemson, Notre Dame, Michigan, and Georgia all won, along with Oklahoma. And as I mentioned before the last caller, there's a quarterback by the name of Kyler Murray who is absolutely balling out for Oklahoma. And I think him and Tua certainly climbing for that Heisman spot, 1 and 2. Good evening. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with and where are you calling from?
Kyle, what's up, man? This is Lee from Atlanta, Georgia, ATL. What's up with you?
Oh, man, I can't wait to get back to the ATL, man. Just a couple more weeks. I'll be in one of my favorite cities. And, I'll be back at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I could give a tour. I keep going there. It's like Bryant-Denny East and then Death Valley's Bryant-Denny West. What's up, man? It's good to hear from you. What you got for us?
Hey, let's tell all the Road Tide fans, pump the brakes. Georgia ain't all that now. Auburn ain't all that. You got to watch the game. These guys ain't all that. All Alabama got to do, like I said, I understand. You could play Tua for first quarter if you want to. You just got to twist his knee, and then the referees got to call that stuff, man. I was at the game yesterday. Referees got to call that stuff. You can't let these guys just come in and hit below the knees like that. That's illegal, man. You can't do that. But you can play a quarter and take him out. Play a quarter and take him out.
It just, and you're right. The officials got to take control of this game because
the officials got to take control of the game.
There's some nasty hits on Tua. And like Nick Saban said on his post game, There's rules like that in the NFL, and some of them, I'm not saying that you can't sack the quarterback. If you want to come up and pop to it, do it, but do it cleanly. I mean, do not go after. You shouldn't go after anybody's knee.
You got to look at it now, man. Everybody out there, everybody already hate Bama, and Bama is been better than they ever been. I'm talking about hands down for the quarterback position. Tua is the best thing we ever had, hands down. I'm not gonna. I'm a Roll Tide fan, 110%, and I'm not gonna lie to you. Tua is the best we ever had. You know what I'm saying? All the quarterbacks we had, they was decent. They was all right. But Tua is, you could put Tua up with the guys in the NFL like what's his name from New England and Green Bay.
Aaron Rodgers. I'm Tom Brady.
Yeah.
I mean, Drew Brees.
You could put Tua in that category. Tua is one of those guys that don't come every day, man. This dude right here, smart, and he knows what's going on. So it was me. If I was coaching, I can let him play a quarter and set him out just to keep the knee warm. You got to keep the knee warm because it's cold right now. So you put him out there a quarter, let him play, and after the first quarter, then he done for the game. That's what you got to do. That's just coaching. That's what I would do if I was Nick. I would do that. But other than that, I'm not sitting here worrying about Auburn and Georgia because I'm watching them play every weekend. Georgia decent, but for us coming up with Bama, I don't see it. I don't see it. Me personally, I don't see it. I don't see it. And I know football. And Georgia, they good, but they're not that good. So I'm not worried about them. And I'm a 110% Tide fan. I'm not worried.
Good stuff, man. I appreciate the call in. Can't wait to be back in the ATL here in a couple weeks, man. You have a good night, and please call again next time.
No doubt. Roll Tide, man.
Call in line is open. 205-686-3604. Hey, what's going on? You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with and where you calling from?
I'm David. I'm calling from Lynette, Alabama.
Hey, good to hear from you. How you doing today?
All right.
Good stuff. You're on the show. What you got for us?
Yeah, I'm just glad that, Jalen stayed because a lot of fans want him to leave. They see how valuable it is. Him getting hurt, Tua getting nicked up a little bit, and Jalen nicked up a little bit, and you got Mac Jones. If all them guys would have left, we wouldn't have nobody. And I'd like to see Tua just deliver that ball a little faster. Don't try to stand there and hold it so much. You good as a pocket passer, but to avoid taking them hits, you ought to just get rid of it a little bit faster. Just throw it away. Don't worry about the stats.
It kind of seems like over the last two games, now I get it. LSU and Mississippi State definitely bringing the house on Tua, but it definitely seems like he's been holding the football a little bit too long. So I'm glad you brought that up. It just seems like he's just holding the football a little bit too long, and sometimes when you do that, you make more mistakes than not. And he wasn't playing like that at the beginning of the season. I think at the beginning of the season he was just balling out. And
he like to do that backyard football and that stuff. As you get old and play more, it tends to catch up on you. I love all our quarterbacks, and I ain't got nothing bad to say about no. But as time tells, because if Tua go down, Jalen and Mac gonna have to step in, and I just hope whoever does it do a bang up job. And I've been a Tide fan ever since Lamar and Russ were playing, split in the wide receiver, and how far back that goes. That goes back in early 80s, and I just like what Saban doing, and I just hope we just get everything going and keep going. Roll Tide.
No doubt. Thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate it.
All right.
Call line open right now, 205-686-3604. I mean, it's kind of ironic because there was a small percentage of the fan base that wanted Jalen just to check out, wanted him to transfer, say, just pack your bags and take off. And now that Tua needs the rest and Jalen's hurt, it's like, it's pretty ironic the way that this season has worked out. in terms of the quarterback situation. Hey, good evening. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with, and where are you calling from?
Robert from Mobile.
How you doing, Robert? It's always good to hear from you.
Hey, yeah, I was watching all those blows that they're allowing to happen to Tua as well. And that is starting to get a bit out of hand. The minute the guys go at Tua, they're immediately going below the belt.
Mm-hmm.
And it's getting to really be really ridiculous. Like Nick Saban says in the NFL, they got rules against that. And the college definitely needs to figure something out, because it's turning into downright targeting, and it's really getting old. You know, as far as Kyler Murray with Oklahoma, you know, it's really tough. I mean, they're the same with Baker Mayfield, so I guess it is what it is. But what would Kyler Murray's number look like over the last two games if he was playing to his schedule? You go to Death Valley at night in one game, 1 week, and then the next week you play another top 5 defense in the NFL. I mean, in college football. Kyler Murray has been having to beat up on and play on against Big 12 defenses for the last several weeks. Yeah, well, what would Tua's number look like playing against Big 12 defenses for the last several weeks?
Tua would have passed for 1,000 yards against Oklahoma State, and that would have been it. I mean, Tua would have set, you know, the world record passing yards. You're absolutely right. I mean, the Big 12, there's no defense in the Big 12 at all. The defense that Tua saw against LSU and Mississippi State, those are NFL-type defenses. The LSU secondary was incredible. Mississippi State's secondary was incredible. I get it. But the thing is, Kyler Murray definitely balls out. He has a great ability both to run and to pass. He has great touch. But the Big 12, there's no defense. There's no defense. The score yesterday for Oklahoma and Oklahoma State was 48-47. I mean, there's no defense, but can't discredit the kid because Kyler Murray, I definitely want him on my team. And next year when I play...
I would, but, I mean, if he had to run Alabama's schedule for an entire season, I don't know how he would do, because his size, when they come to him, it can pick up back on him. Could his size handle people coming at him like they're coming at Tua? You know, him getting hit Tua's getting hit.
No,
right now he doesn't have to worry about getting hit because there's nobody in the Big 12 that's got a defense that can do it. He has yet to play a defense that's ranked in the top 20.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so it's deceptive.
And I hope the Heisman Trust takes that into consideration because, I mean, Tua has certainly played, certainly this back end. I mean, he's had to face some very tough defenses, and I know he didn't have the best numbers against LSU, although his numbers weren't that bad against LSU. But yesterday, I mean, looking at his stats, what were they? 14-21, 164 yards, 1 touchdown, sacked 4 times. I mean, against a very good defense. I still think Tua is the favorite, but I think it's more even now as we head towards the stretch to the Heisman Trophy race.
Yeah, it's only even because of the competition, Kyler Murray. If we give Tua that competition, we'd be all of a sudden he's running away with it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it kind of Kyler Murray, it was the reverse. I don't know if Alabama even wins those games. Like, I don't believe Alabama wins those games, but Kyler Murray, if he could he take those kinds of hits? He passes well, but
yeah,
the defense he's passing against, I don't know how good you really are, because I'm not seeing you play against a defense that can stop a fly. So, is how good are you, or is it just you playing against lousy competition? Baker Mayfield eventually did have to get the chance to prove it because he had to play Georgia.
Yeah.
So he had a chance to prove, okay, I can do this against a good defense. Kyler Murray most likely will never get that chance, so we'll never know.
Let me ask you.
Is what it is.
Let me ask you this before we go. Do you think Alabama should switch up the offense and go to more of a ground and pound now that Tua's been taking, I wouldn't say a beating, but now that teams are really coming after Tua, go back to running back to where they're just feeding Damian, feeding Josh Jacobs, feeding Najee Harris. Would you like to see Alabama go back to more of a run-oriented type of offense through this back end of the schedule? And could they still be as effective as they've been playing throughout the season with just running the football?
Well, no, you're not going to be as effective running the football as you are with Tua's passing the way he was early in the season. You're going to look; your points are going to go down by the very nature that you're doing this. I think that it goes back to the old line. again, the O-line, they've been having a bit of a letdown. They know the competition has gotten better.
Yeah.
But still, the O-line needs to step up and get better, too, and get rid of the ball. Now, could you get rid of the ball quicker? Yeah. But then that's the offense needs to change up. Okay, they need to realize, okay, this team is not giving us that much time. Let's change up the play style. Let's do quicker slants. We'll look for the check down more. That's what you got to start to realize, especially in college, because one team to the next can vary quite a bit. That's like the pros where everybody's closer to even. College, you can have a butt awful team and a really great team the next week. So it varies a lot. But it's really we're really excited for him. Kyler Murray's good, I guess. He's good, but let Tua play that competition and what would the results be? And okay, let's switch schedule. I don't think Kyler Murray would look, and in fact, I know he wouldn't look as good. So, but we'll see. Okay,
right,
buddy.
All right, thanks for the call, and I appreciate it. Good to hear from you. All right, call-in line is open, 205-686-3604. I don't know. I mean, I think a big loss right now for Alabama is Deontay Brown. I mean, saw him last year, and was completely out of shape, overweight, and now to see that the level he's playing at, very high. And you're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Thanks for calling in. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Antonio from Huntsville again. How you doing, man?
What's up, man? How was your Sunday?
It was all right, man. Just looking back at the game a little bit. I think the defense getting better and better, man. I'm getting happy for what I'm seeing. Back-to-back side against top SEC teams.
Mm-hmm.
Woo!
That was incredible. Man,
yeah, and I just get more confident, as we had, SEC championship against Georgia. It should be a good one there. But my question to you was, yesterday during the game, I didn't really hear much from Devontae Smith or Henry Ruggs.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know anything about maybe they're still a little bit injured, nicked up or whatever?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I'm glad you brought that up. So with Henry Ruggs and Devontae Smith, they both did play yesterday. I would still consider Devontae Smith somewhat limited. I don't think he was targeted yesterday. I'll have to go through and look at those exact numbers. I know for a fact Tua did target Henry Ruggs, and the pass just wasn't there for Ruggs, so he didn't have a completion. I would say Henry Ruggs is fine, maybe just a little nicked up. I would say that Devontae Smith is still dealing with that hamstring injury, and not in terms of hamstring injuries, just they nag and they last for a long time, just like turf toe. Like Deontay Brown, who has turf toe, I don't know when we'll see Deontay Brown again, honestly, because of the turf toe. But I think Devontae Smith will be fine. I think it's just a nagging injury, and I miss seeing him on the field because he's such a dynamic playmaker. And thankfully, Alabama has players like Jalen Waddle, who certainly has been balling out. But I think Henry Ruggs is good, and Devontae Smith is probably just a little bit limited, but I think he's fine.
Yeah, man, because I was missing those. Ever since Devontae got hurt, I've been missing those. Those more big plays than they have. Because usually he's the one that's catching the touchdowns, deep touchdowns from Tua. I'm like, man, missing Devontae, I think I seen him run like a route, but he was getting pressed up, he wasn't getting much separation. And that's another thing, like, I noticed, I know Jared Judy, he's getting 100 yards, mainly at the catch, he's seeing him at the catch, he got folks, ankles breaking and all that. I'm woo. But, I notice sometimes when we get pressed, sometimes we kind of don't get much separation. I know last week against LSU, we was getting a little bit of separation on Greedy Williams, but yesterday's game I was like, man, sometimes we a little inconsistent, getting off the press. But I know Jared Judy, he's one of the best route runners on the team. Majority of the time he gets open, but maybe just me being a little picky. I want everybody to get open, but just some I keep my eye on.
No. I think it's important to understand that Mississippi State's pass coverage and LSU's pass coverage, some of the best in college football. So, I mean, some of those, I mean, those were a lot of future NFL matchups that we saw over the last couple of weeks. Because as we all know, I mean, Jerry Jeudy's probably the next big time wide receiver coming out of Alabama. But guys like Henry Ruggs and Jalen Waddle, those guys are going to be NFL guys eventually as well. But so are, the secondary, like Greedy Williams, certainly an NFL guy. So I think you're just seeing NFL matchups, or at least future NFL matchups. But you're right. I think, Alabama's been having a lot of tougher competition, especially in the secondary. And you're only going to see tougher competition from here on out. I mean, no, don't sleep on Auburn. Don't sleep on Georgia.
Yeah.
I mean, and, anything can happen against Citadel, but, those teams are going to bring it. It's only going to get tougher from here on out.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, thanks for calling in. And, man, I didn't know it got so cold here in Alabama these last couple of days. Ooh, geez, it was cold.
All 4 of my tires, man. All of it, low tire pressure. I'm like, woo, it's cold like that.
when the shade dropped at the stadium, oh man, I was hoping everybody had a jacket because it was freezing. It was so freezing yesterday. So today was a little bit warmer, thankfully. But I'll catch up with you next time. Please call in again, man. It's always good to rap with you.
All right, man. I'll see you, man.
All right, man. Take it easy. It was freezing. 205-686-3604. Happy Veterans Day to all our veterans out there. Please, show our veterans some love. It's a great honor for what they do for this great country. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with and where you calling from?
Hello, this is Mac from Georgia.
Yeah, could you please turn down your volume in the background, please?
Yes, I just did.
All right, cool. Good. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Sorry, this is Mac from Georgia.
Hey, what's up, Mac? How was your Sunday today? You have a good Sunday?
It was great, man. I had to go ahead and barbecue a little early because it's supposed to rain here tomorrow.
All right, good. I love working on that Weber kettle, but that's just me. So
yeah.
So what you got, man? You're on the show. Go ahead, shoot.
Yeah, I was. I hear a lot of folks. You had a caller call in. Was talking about everybody being a little bit scared about Georgia, and if you look at the Auburn game, Auburn drove the ball pretty well on Georgia. So Georgia has problems on the defense, and I don't think their defense, their front seven is going to be like Mississippi State. Mm-hmm. And what I saw what LSU did with Georgia, they took the air out of them, made them disbelievers, Mm-hmm. And if you look at this Mississippi State game, I think a lot of it goes back to the offensive coordinator, Mike Locksley. It's almost like after halftime, Mississippi State made some real good adjustments because they were starting to send those outside linebackers, and they was like, "Hey, just beat us if you can." Mm-hmm. And what happened to the checkdowns? With the tight ends getting open and your backs, fluttering out the backfield to help the quarterback out because that's your last line of defense is the checkdowns. What do you think about that? I think it's bad offensive coordinator, coming back with reshuffling the game plan.
I have a tough time criticizing Mike Locksley because I think he's done a great job overall, and we can't just kind of be like, take it for just this particular game. But I do think that you bring up a good point with the tight end because if you rewatch the game, Alabama did a fantastic job of targeting Irv Smith, who's a very good weapon. I don't think he had a reception in the second half. I might be wrong about that, but they completely went away from that. I don't know. I think Alabama and probably Mike Locksley as well had a tough time picking up the blitz, and so did the offensive line. I mean, Mississippi State, they were coming. They were flying. And they certainly rattled Alabama. I mean, if Alabama doesn't get those first 2 touchdowns, you're looking at like a 10-0 type game.
I coached high school football, at once in my life. And I did I was a graduate assistant up at the University of Kentucky under Coach Mundy years ago. That was a long time ago. Mm-hmm. And what I've learned, when you start getting a lot of blitz, you normally have to put in those rub routes, where you you get one guy comes like the slot comes in and almost like he's not blocking outside linebacker,
Sure.
but he's like getting in the way of a cornerback or outside linebacker to spring open the wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
And you see a lot of those rug routes being ran, and plus these guys are running more deeper routes like those dig routes and corner routes, and there was too much put in those outside linebackers coming. And that's what I was seeing. I was like, there's not enough time to even set and throw the ball at that route, that the speed of those linebackers coming at.
Yeah, you know who was running some of those rub routes that you're talking about was Clemson, right? I mean, that's how they beat Alabama essentially in the title game.
Yes.
I mean, they ran a rub route where they were able to get it to Hunter Renfrow in the corner of the end zone. So, and that was a case kind of where Alabama was setting the house too. So, I mean, you might see you could see more of that. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, that's a good call on your end, actually. I mean,
I don't think they should rest Tua during this next game. I think the one quarter is good, and I think also that, and I like your opinion on this. Do you think that the bye week kind of took some of the steam out of the offense? Because a rest for an offense can be detrimental to the consistency, but rest to a defense can help the defense out because there's a lot more banging going down in the trenches.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I want to get out of this LSU and Mississippi State cloud because those defenses were incredible. I want to get to Citadel and I want to see what the offense can do with rest against Auburn because I'm not saying that Auburn's defense is going to be worse than LSU or Mississippi State's, but those are fantastic defenses that they went up against. I want to see Alabama again in a couple weeks and see how this offense has improved. But thanks so much for calling in tonight. I appreciate you calling in.
All right. Thanks. No problem.
All right. Calling line is open. 205-686-3604. Yeah, I want like the dust to settle, and I want Alabama to take care of Citadel, and then I want to see this team go against Auburn. And I'll post the grades against Auburn and Alabama and show everybody how those two teams match up. And I want to watch Auburn, a little bit more tape on them and see how that defense is doing. Last year, that defense, man, they certainly ate up Jalen. All right, you're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Thanks for calling in. Who am I on the line with and where are you calling from?
Michael, and I'm from Mobile.
Hey, Michael. Good evening. How's your Sunday going?
Oh, it's going great. Going great.
All right, good. You're on the show. Go ahead. Shoot.
Yes, sir. I got just a couple questions. Do you think they're probably rest Tua that Auburn game? I know they probably gonna rest in the Citadel game, but what you think about that Auburn game?
Oh, Tua to rest against Auburn?
Yeah.
Oh no. I think you got to have him come out and put away Auburn because I think Auburn and Alabama is going to be very even. I know. I'm not even sure where Auburn's going to be ranked at that point, but you cannot have any type of slip up in the college football rankings. I mean, the last thing you want to do is get behind Auburn, lose at home, and potentially go into another game to lose in the SEC championship. I mean, those two games, Auburn and Georgia, I mean, those are going to be very difficult games for anybody, including Alabama. So I think you certainly have to I would be shocked. I wouldn't be – let me rephrase this. I'd be shocked if Tua plays more than a quarter against the Citadel, and I would be completely shocked if he doesn't play against Auburn. So he's 100% going to play against Auburn. I mean, there's no question.
But do you think Jalen will probably be 100% around Auburn game?
That's a great question. I mean, I hope for Alabama's fans' sake he is, but it's hard to he's coming off that minor ankle injury. I mean, he could barely walk a couple weeks ago. I don't know how his status is. I mean, we'll be at practice again Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday and try to get a glimpse of where he is. In terms of going through drills, but he hasn't been doing anything in terms of movement-wise, and that's his game. Jalen's a dual-threat quarterback, and that's where he can be most efficient. But with that said, I mean, remember what Auburn did last year? I mean, they completely shut Alabama's. I had never seen Alabama's offense be beaten up and down the field until I went to the Iron Bowl last year. I mean, that Auburn defense was mean nasty.
Yeah.
And most of those guys are back from last year.
Yeah, I remember that game. That game really hurt.
Yeah, that game
it really hurt it.
Auburn took Alabama to the woodshed. So take care of Citadel, get everyone healthy, because from here on out, I mean, you're playing the best of the best, Auburn included. I don't care what Auburn's record is. Those guys are coming to ruin Alabama's season. That's their main objective. That's it.
Yeah.
So
because I remember, I've been a fan since Bobby Humphrey was at Alabama.
Yeah.
I think I remember one year in 1989. I think the quarterback was Gary Hollingsworth.
Mm-hmm.
I think we were 10-0 going into the Iron Bowl, and they beat us.
Yeah.
And that game is the records are when they say to throw the records out, throw the records out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No. I mean, it's a rivalry game, and Gus Malzahn's on the ropes with his job. I mean, he's got to beat Alabama. Either way, he's probably out the door. But if he could beat Alabama one more time and do it at Bryant-Denny Stadium, he'll take it. So
okay.
No.
Yeah. And one more question.
Yeah.
One more question.
Yeah.
Do you think Tua's knee is worse than what they say it is?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Okay.
I thought you were gonna ask me, do you think that Tua's leg is fake? Which I'd also say yes. No, I'm just playing. Like, everybody's always asking me about the leg. I think it's worse than it is, of course. I mean, he has a brace on it. He keeps getting hurt, and they keep coming out and be like, he's fine. Do you have a leg brace on? No, you don't have a leg brace on, and you have a leg brace on if you're injured, right? I mean,
exactly.
Right? Like, I don't go around walking with an arm brace just because. If I have an arm brace on, it's because I hurt my arm. Same with a back brace or whatever. I mean, he's obviously injured. I think it's worse. I think his injury is far worse than what Alabama says. And I can't wait till next season, like next March, when the untold stories come out. And they're like, did you know like Tua, how bad his leg was? Right?
Right.
It's gonna.
And I always see when he's like, like maybe third down and 2 or 3 like that. When he's back in the shotgun, I always kind of feel like an anguish or like a pain on his face. I don't know if nobody else sees it, but I see like a pain. He be grimacing, and he kind of be in pain a little bit. I just noticed it. I don't know if anybody else noticed that, but I noticed that.
Yeah, I mean that run when he ran that 44-yard touchdown against LSU. I mean, I think we're all in pain on that one. We're all blowing the TV. We're like, get in there, So it's I don't know. I think it's worse than what people are saying, but he's one tough dude. I mean, he certainly continues to ball out and play at a very high level. So props to him. Alabama's offensive line just needs to protect him.
Exactly.
All right. Thank you so much for the call, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
All right. I'm about to dip out. I need some Z's. I got Nick Saban's press conference tomorrow at 12. We'll post that right here on our YouTube channel. Thank you so much for calling in tonight. Thank you so much for watching the show. And once again, happy Veterans Day to all our veterans. If you're off tomorrow, give a veteran a call and make sure and tell them you appreciate the service for this great country. My name is Kyle Henderson of BamaInsider.com, the managing editor. You can find all our content on BamaInsider.com. You can follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/BamaInsider. My email, top of the screen, Kyle@BamaInsider.com. Check us out. Free 30-day trial for premium subscription. And we certainly got a ton of coverage. Tony Tsoukalas and Andrew Bone do a great job providing all that information for you. But be good people out there. Be productive. Have a strong week. Be good people. Do something positive for somebody else. And, let's make it a better place. Have a great week. Citadel up this Saturday. And then Auburn, Thanksgiving. So SEC championship. So you're remember for what you do in November. Catch the Z's. I'll catch you guys next time. Thank you so much for all the support. Have a good night. Take it easy. Peace.